रामानुजदयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुग्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये। माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपते बकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना। भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविता शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं। वाल्मीके मुनिसिंहस्य कविता वनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानाथं कोनयादि परां गतिम्। वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रव संयुतं पिबत भागवत रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। सीतं ममायं सीतं ममायं श्रीरामुडु माकु तंड्री सीतं ममायं श्रीरामुडु माकु तंड्री सीतं ममायं। माता देवी त्वमसि भगवान् वासुदेवः पिता मे। भूमिजानायकं भुक्तिमुक्तिदायकं नाम कीर्तनतारकं नरवरं गदमायिकं रामचन्द्रं भावयामि रघुकुलतिलकं भूपेन्द्रो रामचन्द्रं भावयामि। Sita, that's the first installment of this lecture, and the second installment is going to be on Draupadi, and the last few minutes will be spent on a comparison study of Sita and Draupadi. As said in the last 4 days of lecture, there is Ramayana inside Mahabharata as well. So Ramayana forms an integral part of every literature, every Purana, and the Itihasa Mahabharata too. So it would be very wise for us to think that Ramayana is a subset of the superset called as Mahabharata. Where does Sita feature? If you remember the word Kashyapa that was mentioned, we use Aruna Prashnam and said, Pashyakaha Kashyapo Bhavati. The one who could see, foresee, was called Pashyaka, since he was named after the verb that Pashyaka became Kashyapa. This was told on day 1. Day 3, we took the case of Garuda, the celestial bird, who could carry the Supratika and Vibhavasu, the elephant and the tortoise, on each of his claws, and carried the broken branch of a banyan tree with the inversely hanging Valakilya Rishis. Since he could carry heavy objects, heavy being Guru Vastu, he should have been Guruda, which became Garuda. So Pashyaka became Kashyapa, Guruda became Garuda. Rudraha, if you remember the day one, wherein we had the opportunity to discuss the esoteric meanings that are associated with Sri Rudra Mahamantram. Rudro vai Kruraha. Kruraha, when reverse becomes Rukraha, which later becomes Rudraha. This is all Sanskrit derivation. There was a king called Seeta-Draupadi. This Seeta-Draupadi king had a title. PMO office, we call it in India, means the Prime Minister's office. Prime Minister is not the name of that person. It is the title. It is the post. Likewise, Seeta-Draupadi was a king who ruled over a city which was the capital of a province called as Videha. This region was called Videha. The province was called Videha, whose capital was Mithila. So this king called Seeta-Draupadi ruled it in a very proper manner. How an administrator should administer, so did this king do. He was called Janaka. The title given to him was Janaka. He wanted a daughter. He wanted a girl who will adhere to what he says. Every parent wants that. That remains as a wish alone. So he wanted one such daughter. So he performed Ishti. If you remember day 3, day 2, when we spoke about Bhadrachala Ramadas, we spoke about Putra Kama Ishti. Ishti is a part of a Shrautam sacrifice, and if you desire a son, that is Kama is desire, son is Putra. Putra Kama Ishti, Putra Kama Ishti. If you want a daughter also, you have to perform, because Putra and Putri, Putra is a shorter form, Putri is a grammatically longer form, Putra, Putri. So in Sanskrit grammar, the elongated portion forms a subset to the smaller word. It is not the other way. Putra doesn't come under Putri. Putri comes under Putra. You will be wondering how can such a big word come under a small word. Now let's imagine. Diamond studs are kept inside GRT box. Whichever box. I am not advertising for any brand. Whichever brand. Now these studs are kept inside one box. The box supports the stud, or the stud supports the box? Box supports the stud, because box is larger in size, studs are smaller, so the box supports the studs. The body is large, Atma is very atomic, minuscule in nature. Which supports the body? The Atma supports the body, or the body supports the Atma? Atma supports the body. There alone, the smaller one supports the larger one. Likewise, Putri comes under Putra as per the grammatical rule. So he desired a girl. He performed Putra Kama Ishti. At the end of it, the priest said, Janaka, why don't you plow the ground? Because it is very important that you respect agriculture. You know that our country, way back, India, is an agriculture, still even today, it is still an agriculture oriented country. We depend on the rains, we depend on our crops. So he started plowing. That is when the halam, the hal, in Hindi, hal means solution. In Sanskrit, hal means the plow, kalappai. So that hal is the end of it, the tip of a hal in Sanskrit is called tasi, that particular end. Pashyaka became Kashyapa. Guruda became Kruraha, which is Rukraha, became Rudraha. This tasi, the end of a plow, from which a box arose inside which the girl was, became Sita. You are getting the reverse, tasi, because she emerged when the tip of the plow touched, she became Sita. You keep on repeating tasi. Tasi, tasi, ta, you get Sita. It is like Mara, 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 Mara. So Sita was born. She was the adopted daughter of Janaka, whose original name was Seeta-Draupadi. So she was called Janaki, Janaka Putri Janaki. She was born in the city called Mithila, so she was called Maithili. She was born in the province called Videha, so she was called Vaidehi. But as per the hospital records, the name given was Sita. These are all the other names that were given to her. If you go to Bengal, they will generally ask, forget your original name, Dak Naam, tell me a Dak Naam. Dak Naam is the pet name. So likewise she had many pet names. But today pets are given these names. That is different. Now, Sita was born and she grew up as a very obedient daughter to her father. To find such obedient children is a rarity. And she grew up as a very obedient child to her father. He ensured that she got the right amount of education from the right people. That is the parents' foremost duty, to ensure that one's child gets the right education. Nevertheless, education may not guarantee success in one's life. Please remember, we generally say when we are vexed, that person did not study but prospered. This person studied so much yet did not prosper. It is very wrong to come to such illogical conclusions. Studying is one's duty because we have been blessed with the brain to do so. We should not use samayochita examples. You should not say Kamarajar did not study yet he was a good chief minister. He did not have the facilities to study, but we have it. So education is very important. Above that, one should also have the wisdom to use what kind of knowledge at which place. That is very important. So that Vivekam is all the more important. Viveka is incidentally the hero of an allegorical play written by Vedanta Deshika called as Sankalpa Suryodayam. If you are aware, just as it is called, if we give lectures in Sanskrit, it is much more easier. Every word will sound very holy. We will say Prasangika Vishayena. You will think it is a great word. Prasangika Vishayam in Sanskrit means irrelevant information. I am going to give you an irrelevant piece of information. The irrelevant piece of information is Sita. That is, especially when you talk of these people who have given us knowledge. Vedanta Deshika was one of the foremost acharyas who gave us one allegorical Sanskrit play. What is an allegorical play? You know who are the characters in that play? The characters are Viveka Maharaja, Sumati who is the wife, Mahamoha who is the king, and his wife is Durmati. All our qualities are personified as the characters. Jealousy, Asuya is the daughter of Durmati. Damba means unnecessary pride, becomes one daughter to Durmati. They imprison their father Jivatma in the prison and they seek the grace of Vishnu called Daya, which is the foremost weapon to rescue. So Vedanta Deshika has developed this into a 10-act play. So in that Viveka Maharaja is one. Those of you who have bought that chip, you can listen to 6 hours of this play. Very rare. There is also one play based in Advaita called as Krishna Mishra's Prabodha Chandrodayam. This is Vedanta Deshika's Sankalpa Suryodayam. We have all got great plays. The only thing is we don't have people to read such literature. So as Sita grew up, she was blessed with the right education. And she was at the age of 6 now when she got married. Now you will be wondering, she got married at the age of 6. Says Ramayana. Rama was at the age of 12. The age difference was 6. And in this 6 years, she managed to listen to every possible story from her father. Sita is a very good narrator in Ramayana. She gives small stories to Rama in Ramayana. That is when Rama thinks, thank God I got her married when she was 6 itself. In these 6 years itself, she has managed to learn so many stories. Had I waited for a few more years, I might have had to sit like this in the audience to listen to a lecture every day. This is what he thinks. So, one more thing. Sita at one point in time when she goes to the forest along with Rama and Lakshmana, she goes to an ashrama of Atri and Anasuya, an ideal couple in those days. They used to live together for many years. Living together for many years is a challenge. So they lived. So as they lived together, Sita went and Anasuya said, see, I am very old. I couldn't attend your marriage. I want to listen from you how the marriage happened. How did it take place? Some people are very good at narrating. They'll say, you know what all we did? We started this way, that morning we went, we were caught in the traffic, then my father took a U-turn right, and slowly they'll give a very vivid description. Some people are not good at narrating. They'll say, for one sentence they will have to ask request. So Sita said, my father gave me various kinds of jewelry. She lists the jewelry, manga necklace, everything. She lists everything. That is when Anasuya asks, was your father perplexed that you were getting married? She said, yes. He was worried that I was not married even at the age of 6. She tells this sentence. So, Sita was married at the age of 6. And in this concept only we have Ram coming to Mithila Desham. And then looking at Sita in the Kannimadam, you know Kamban's verse, Yennalum Nalathinal Inayal Nindroli Kannod Kanninai Kappi Ondrai Ondru Unnavum Nilaiperadu Unarvu Ondrida Annarum Nokinan Avadum Nokinal. Both of them looked at each other. This is probably the only verse that is very famous in Kambaramayanam out of the 10,348 verses that he has struggled for. The Kambaramayanam, oh sir, Annarum Nokinan Avadum. Why this Nokia is so important? Because in Tamil grammar you will never use vum vum again and again. Annarum nokinan, avalum nokinan, not required. I also had curd rice means what? I have had 2 other types of rice before. This is what it implies. Annarum nokinan means he also saw. Annarum nokinan, avalum nokinan, not required. But then for an incident you should not use this. For an accident you can use. Suppose 2 vehicles they collide. And at that point in time we are very inquisitive. What happened, sir? In our country we will ask. I don't know whether you can ask here. Here also if you ask, what happened? So he also came and this person also came. Avanum vandan, ivanum vandan. So in cases of accident you can use 2 wombs, says Tamil grammar. So both of them saw each other. That is not the implied meaning. As per our astrology, Jyotishya Shastram, there is one important verse. The verse states that if the Gotra matches for the boy and the girl, the Nakshatram matches, but the horoscopes don't match. Everything matches. The parents like each other, boy's parents and the girl's parents like. They like each other's houses. Everything is fine. But the only thing, horoscopes don't match. What to do? That time, Apastamba, today, those of you who can remember Abhivadaye, that is the traditional intro. When you give an intro to one person, you would say that I am so and so. This is called the traditional intro. Abhivadaye, Angirasambharesha, Yavanasvatraya, Arshaya, Prabha, Anvita, Harita Gotra, Apastamba Sutra, Yadushrakadhyayi. Pravaram means alumni, alma mater. So if you belong to a Gotram and there are 2 or 3 famous rishis, it's called Pravaram. And if you belong to a certain DNA lineage, it's called Gotram. And if you belong to a certain family procedure, it is called a Sutram. That is why we give, if you go to certain houses and you ask, do you keep Golu every year during Navaratri? No, in our house this is not a practice at all. Do you recite Vishnu Sahasranamam? If we recite, we will have some calamity, so we don't. There are certain people who do use such things. So this is called family procedure. Generally in those days, Apastamba was a rishi who gave family procedure. Most of them will belong to Apastamba Sutra. If at all, by any chance you have had the time to do Yajurupa Karma today, little time if you have spared, then you will know that Apastamba is one famous Sutra Kara. Then there is another person called Bodhayana, very lesser known. Then there is another lesser known person called Katyayana. But Apastamba states in the Sutra, please listen to this very carefully, like Virat Kohli's last ball. You have to listen in that tenure. As per Apastamba Sutra, if the horoscopes don't match, then you can put the prospect boy and the prospect girl right before each other, and if their eyes meet, then you don't have to look at the horoscope. Ikshanatve is the sutra. Nobody is using this, then that entire astrology lobby will go away. So this is the sutra's meaning. That is why there is no mention of Sita and Ram's horoscope being seen, because Annarum Nokinar, Avadum Nokinar. Karulavum Shirulavum Nithilayil Kanimadam Tanir Munne Nindravar Yaro Ivar Yaro. So both of them looked at each other. Now Ram, very, very obedient, humble son to Dasharatha. It seems Dasharatha used to say, Ram, come here. And Ram used to walk. You go back. Ram used to go back. Again come. If you do this to your children, you see what will be their reaction. Come, go, come. Ram came, he went. That is why Dasharatha tried this in Ramavataram. Had he been Krishna's father, I don't know whether this could have succeeded or not. That is when Kulashekar Alvar says, Va pogu va, come, pogu, go, va. Why? Because Dasharatha wanted to have a glimpse of the Lord's beauty from the front, and while he turned back, the beauty of the Lord from the back. So he was absolutely doing a comparison study to check whether the Lord looks handsome from the front or the back. Munnilum pinnalagiya perumal. So Dasharatha tried doing this. So Dasharatha ensured that his son was very obedient. So this obedient son did not go outside. He was never exposed to external life. Always if you eat, you ask Rama to eat, he'll eat. Sleep, he'll go and sleep. So he had no extracurricular activities. So to marry Sita was a tough task, because Sita will, in those days, marrying a lady, they will make 10 men stand and she will choose. You know what an insult it is to the remaining men. If that is the case today, most of them will remain bachelors. So that is, those days it was called Virya Shulkam. You will have to show your valor. Lift the bucket. Bucket dukina spondylitis. So Ram wanted to ensure that he gets married. But how will he get married? No extracurricular activities. Till the age of 12, no activities, no achievements. CV was practically empty. The only place, Vasishta University. That is when Venkatadhvari Kavi remarks to marry Sita, what Ram did was, he killed Tataka, he killed Subahu, he drove away Maricha, and he gave Ahalyodharanam. That is, he brought Ahalya and Gautama, the separated couple, together. Then he proved his valor by lifting the bow and then married Sita. So, in 3 days' time, Ram proved his valor. The only reason why he did was not for Vishwamitra, to marry Sita, it seems, says Venkatadhvari Kavi. What a beautiful imagination. He says in Yadava Raghaviyam. Yadava Raghaviyam is a Sanskrit work. This work has been composed by a Kavi of the 17th century called Venkatadhvari Kavi. He belonged to a village called as Arasani Palai. You know what is the beauty about this work? If you read from left to right, it will talk about Krishna, the one of Yadava clan. If you read right to left, it will talk about Rama Raghava clan. It is a beautiful Sanskrit work. Since we do not know Sanskrit that much, we are just worried about Malayalam. Malayalam, here the story itself changes. Seva dhyeyo Rama lali yasya mara mara mora yasya bhalam karam taram tam shritam vandeham devam. This is about Krishna. How his wife Satyabhama was enraged when she saw the Parijata flower go to the co-wife called Rukmini. This is the essence of this verse. You reverse this verse. What did I say? Sevadhyeyo Ramalali Yasya Mara Mara Mora Yasya Balam Karam Taram Tam Sridham Vandeham Devam. Reverse. Vandeham Devam Ayodhyevase Raghavarama Lali. So it will talk about Ram. The entire work is Yadava Raghava. So it is Yadava Raghaviyam. In those days there was also a work called as Raghava Pandaviyam. Pandavas it will talk from reverse and Ram from the left. Great literature has come. If you take Vedanta Deshika's Chitra Paddhati of Paduka Sahasram, you can see the movement of a knight in a chessboard. It's called Chaturanga Paddhati. How a knight can move, that is how the verse has been composed. I'll give you a small, time is running, but I want to give this verse because Vedanta Deshika is very close to my heart, I cannot leave him. 2 lines in one verse. You should pictorially be able to associate what I am telling you. I don't have a PPT and I don't make powerful points as well. So you will have to imagine of a PPT now. 2 lines. First line 16 letters, second line 16 letters. First line 16 letters, 2 parts. First part 8 letters, second part 8 letters. Second line 8 letters, 8 letters. 8, 8, 8, 8. 16, 16. 8 into 4, 32. This is called Anushtup Chandas. Clear? Now, the first letter of the first line, second letter of the second line, third letter of the first line, fourth letter of the second line, fifth letter of the first line. You are able to get the odd numbers in the first line, even numbers in the second line. So it comes like this. So once I do that, the resultant line will be the first line again. And you do the reverse, you will get the second line again. This is one type of paddhati which he has designed. Then if you put them into a circle, then you will get angle for every alphabet right from acute to obtuse. Great mathematicians there were. If I have to talk about maths in our literature, then I need 4 or 5 days separately for that. So they were all great. You cannot even imagine how great they were. Because to understand also we should know what they have done. Either case we should know what they have composed. So Sita, she was waiting to see Ram, and that is when Ram marches inside the assembly, and then he lifts the bow and Sita looks at him. Kala kala manu mukha panu galigina Sita kuluku chubora ganulanu Juje ninnu kana kana ruchira kana kavasana ninnu kana kana. They married, and that is on the first night. Kamban tells what a scene happened. It seems Sita was decked with jewels with stones studded on them. She walked towards Ram. Ram wanted to touch her. She said, "Don't touch me." Why is she causing so much of commotion on the first day, first night? She said, "You know what, Ram? While you entered our city Mithila, your holy feet touched upon a stone, and that stone turned into a halya. Now my father has given me jewels full of stones. If you touch my jewelry, each may turn into a lady." What she ideally meant was, your father does not have a famous history. He has married 350 women. If the son also continues the same practice, what will I do? That was the implied meaning. Great people never convey directly. That is when Ram said, "In Shindayanu Irumadarai Today, I will not even touch the second, think of the second woman even by my thoughts." So they were married. As they were married, we have had Sita always being with Ram. Now Sita was at the age of 18, Ram was done with 24. He was turning 25, that is when he was asked to go to the forest. She was told that she will become the wife to the heir apparent, wife to Yuvaraja. But she did not celebrate, she was normal. That is when Dasharatha ordered that Ram should go to the forest. Ram went and informed his mother Kaushalya, Mata, I seek your permission. I will go. She said, you cannot go, Ram. All these years I have been waiting to see you adopt that golden throne. And today you say that you are going to 14 years in the forest. I cannot stand this. I will also come with you and I will cook for you. Ram said, no, father is taking BP tablets. You have to give him. You stay here. It is very important because he will forget taking his medicines. You stay here. Sita was eavesdropping. Now Ram came to Sita's harem. Sita, sweet. He got inside the room. Sita was waiting because she was ready to go to the forest. She wanted peace because every day here thousands of petitions are coming. Water is not functioning well. They will ask Ram. Electricity connection not proper. They will ask Ram. Ram was the only solution in Ayodhya. So Sita thought the best panacea will be to get out of Ayodhya. So she said, Ram, are you going to give me news? Yes, Sita. See, there is a slight change in the plan. I was asked to rule Ayodhya, but there is a slight change. Plan B, I have to go to the forest. Sita, is it 14 years? What will I do? You stay here. What will I do staying here? Watch a mega serial. That runs for 14 years. That is when Sita said, no, wherever there is network everywhere, I can watch the missing episodes. I will come with you. That is when Ram says no. Sita, you have not seen animals. You will be terrified looking at them. Sita said, see, when I am under the protection of your arms, why should I worry about the animals? Where there is a mind without fear, said Tagore. So why should I worry? Nirbharaha nirbhayosmi. I have surrendered to you. You will take care of me. Ram said, no, there will be many thorns. I know Ram, you are very sensitive. I will ensure that I remove the thorns and make it thorn free. Whatever Ram said, Sita had a ready-made reply. That is when Sita finally said, let me resort to another means. We have never seen Sita in this shape. She said, Kim tva anyata vaidehaha pita me mithiladipaha Rama jamataram prapya striyam purusha vigraham. It is my father's mistake to have gotten me married to you. Ram, why are you dragging your father's name in our fight? Because it is his mistake, Ram. Why is it his mistake? Because he assumed that he is getting me married to a man, but he did not know it is actually a man, a lady in the disguise of a man. Striyam Purusha Vigraham. That is why you are afraid to take me to the forest. Ram got the shock of his life. He immediately went and closed all the windows. He ensured that it didn't reach anybody else's ear and said, Sita, you come with me. So she immediately had her baggage packed. Dandakaranyam main road, Dandakaranyam cross street, Madhya Pradesh. Ram asked, how have you packed your materials? She said, no, when I was a little child, one astrologer used to visit my father's house. Ram thought even he has visited there also. What did he say? He looked at my horoscope and said, she will be for 14 years in the forest. So I knew that I will be there. So I ensured that I have a long-term vision and packed it then and there. So this baggage is ready. So Sita went to the forest, but Ram felt very bad about it. See, his own wife calling him Striyam Purusha Vigraham. Miral Bummayai Pole Kati Ruppalam Ival. You know what is Miral Bummai? If you go to fields, traditional fields, you will find idle scarecrows. It is as if to chase away these birds that may tamper with the fields. But it has no life in it. Likewise, she says, you are a Miral Bummai. You are acting as if you are a Kshatriya, but you are not a Kshatriya, you are an idol. Striyam Purusha Vigraham. It came as a blot in Ram's memories. You know, memories are very, very unpredictable. You may want them to remember what you have heard today, but it will not. That is the beauty of memory cells. But it will surely remember 25 years before, when you have attended an event, one person would have come and spoken to you, and that word might have stung your heart, and you will remember that scene very well. What that person wore, what you wore, what time it was, what bhakshanams were served that day, all that. But today, if you go back and think about what is Janaka's original name, it will not come. Very tough. That is how memory cells are designed. I don't know. It has been programmed that way. We have to go change the program code from the back end to ensure that it is being fixed. So Ram, it stung him. You know, Thiruvalluvar says in Thirukkural, Teeginal Shuttappun Ul Arum Arade Navinal Shuttabadu. If you know, certain people are excellent at cooking, but they may cook very rarely. So, and the Veera marks, the marks of their valor will be felt by looking at their hands. They will have burns here and there. You will be worried, what happened? Please don't cook. 1 month later you go, Pattindiye, you felt, you had a scar. Where is it? I don't know, this hand or that hand. Because scars that come through physical injuries may vanish over a period of time. Arade Navinal Shuttabadu. Words that are being stung at a person's memory or a heart can never be taken away. So Ram had this in his memory. He knew how to give it back. Sita and Ram lived happily. That is when they went to the forest. That is when Shurpanakha came. Shurpanakha came and said, Ram, I want to marry you. Ram said, I cannot marry. I am already married. She said, I need to marry you for the second time. He said, I have a problem. She said, I don't have a problem. But then she finally forced. That is when Lakshmana comes, intervenes and chops her nose and ears away. She goes crying to her brothers Khara and Dushana, and Khara and Dushana come in a number of 14,000. Ekascha Ramo Dharmatma Katham Yuddham Bhavishyati. On one side was Ram, who will adhere to every rule of Yuddham. If they have to start at 6 a.m., he will wait for that 5, 9. It has to turn into that 6-0. Then he will wait for that 6 a.m. and start. He will wait for that Surya Astamanam to conclude. He will ensure that he doesn't fight in the night. He will ensure that he doesn't strike from the back. He will ensure that he follows every rule in the rule book of wars. Dharmatma. But on the other side there are 14,000 who do not know what rules are. They don't even, the word RULE doesn't exist in their dictionary. So the rishis were wondering, how will this rule adhering Ram single-handedly fight against the rule non-adhering 14,000 Rakshasas? Ekascha Ramo Dharmatma Katham Yuddham Bhavishyati. So when those 14,000 demons came with weapons in their hands marching in the battlefield, that created a huge sandstorm. If you have been in the north of India, there is something called Andhi. We all used to experience. Sandstorm used to come. So Ram, Sita and Lakshmana, who were on the other side, noticed this sandstorm, and Lakshmana remarked, Ram, there comes the number of 14,000 demons. Both of us we can handle, come. Ram said, Lakshmana, you take Sita atop the hill, inside the guha, the cave, and from there you watch. Like the corporate box in IPL matches. You go from there and you watch. Lakshmana, Ram, Anna, I will come. You need my assistance. 14,000 is a number. You take her. Sita, you go. So Ram and Lakshmana and Sita were looking from the cave down. 14,000 they are running with cycle chain, soda bottle, 7 o'clock plate. They are walking. And Ram is standing in a cool posture like Vadavur Rama. That is when Kalidasa remarks, when he started shooting arrows from his bow, it seemed as if 14,000 Rams were fighting at one go. That is why there is a famous song, Raman Yettanai Ramanadi. So, Asahaya Shura, Anapaya Sahasa. In 1.5 muhurtas, muhurtam generally lasts for 2 hours. 1.5 comes to close to 3 hours. So, in 3 muhurtas, 3 hours, 1.5 muhurtas, Ram was able to annihilate all the 13,999 demons. Who is that one who is remaining? His name was Akampana. Why did Ram spare him alone? Because he took away a sari that was lying on the battlefield, draped it around himself, and posed as if he was a woman. So Ram thought we should not kill women and he left him. So 13,999 demons were single-handedly handled by Ram. Now Ram is not like the hero of the movies that we see. The hero will fight with 10 villains but nothing will happen to him. It is not like that. Valmiki shows a very true picture. It seems blood was oozing from Ram's body. Since he was dark and the blood was thick in hemoglobin, it was red. So that redness on that black skin was very visible. So Ram was actually wounded severely and he turned on the battlefield towards the cave where Sita was. He just looked at her, she looked at him, and she understood and he understood. Poor thing, Lakshmana did not understand. She came running, she jumped on each of the boulders, the rocks, the cliff, then she came down. She came running towards Ram. Tam drishtva Shatruhantaram Harishinam Sukhabaham Babuva Krishta Vaidehi Bhartaram Parishasvaji. This is the shloka of Valmiki. Tam drishtva. Looking at this scene, Shatruhantaram, after having looked at Ram who just now annihilated the demons, Maharshinam Sukhavaham, to the one who brought happiness to the rishis around, Babuva Krishta Vaidehi, so happy and excited was Sita. Bhartaram Parishasvaje, she hugged Ram completely, wholeheartedly. Why? Because Ram, who was stung by her words that day, wanted to prove to her that he is not a Striyam Purusha Vigraha. He did not open his mouth and say. She did not recognize it openly. This is how great hero and heroines are. They will never talk. Their actions can convey. That means I will take care. You should not ask too many questions. The lesser the questions, the greater is the hero in one person. You should be able to gauge the situation and you should be work towards it. That is what Sita was. That is what Ram. Then when they lived in the forest, that is when Lakshmana is being admonished by Sita. Sita tells, your brother is in distress and I am telling you, Lakshmana, go and protect your brother, and despite me telling you and despite your brother giving a cry for help and you are still standing here, it makes me doubt your character. Lakshmana said, all these days, Mata, I never thought my mother Sumitra to be my mother. It is you who is my mother. Mam Vidhi Janakatmajam. But today, after having served you wholeheartedly like the son, I hear these words. And after having heard these words, if I stand here, it will be a testimony to what you have said. So I will move out of this place. And he moved. That is when Ravana comes and abducts. And then Ram has a MOU signed with Sugriva. He kills Vali, brings back the kingdom to Sugriva. He gets Angada to be the heir apparent. That is when all the monkeys, they go in search of Sita. Hanuman goes in search of Sita. He goes to Lanka. He spots Sita. See, Hanuman is a monkey. He doesn't belong to the clan of Rama. Second, he was a brahmachari, who Ram is not. He is a grihastha. So Hanuman was wondering, why should this Ram lament over the loss of Sita? He can very well go marry somebody else and live happily. This was his thought, but he did not explicitly say this. Agattin nalanu mugattin theriyum. Face is the index of mind. That is how a speaker should also be. If somebody is starting, that means a speaker should ensure that he engages the audience by giving the right quotations then that person will look. This is very important. That is not a good speaker. You should ensure that the message reaches the audience, not only to the learned ones, even to the little ones who have come for the first time. That is a very important duty of a good speaker. So, Sita, Hanuman did not say this explicitly. Ram understood. So he thought it is this Hanuman who should go and see Sita. So he gave his ring प्रभु मुद्रिका मेली मुख माही जलधि लाधि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेथे सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे ते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत ना आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लह तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक का को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपै तीनों लोक हाँकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे राम लक्ष्मण जानकी जय बोलो Hanuman ki. So that is when Hanuman sits on the Simshuka Vriksham and looks at Sita, because initially he mistakes Ravana Patni Mandodari to be Sita. Mandodari is decked very well. She is sleeping next to Ravana. Hanuman thinks this is Sita. So beautiful she is. Asfotayama Chuchumba Pucham. He started kissing his tail. Nananda Chikrida Jagau Jagama. He started drumming up and down the pillar. Then he gave a knock to his head and thought, will Jagannatha Sita be sleeping next to Ravana? Because he has been a bachelor, he doesn't know about all these rules. So he went in search of Sita. Again he sat on the Simshuka Vriksham, looked down, and that is when he spots a woman who resembles the symptoms of a lady who has been separated from her husband. Avyakta rekham iva chandra rekham Brahm supradugdham iva varna rekham Kshatrah prarudham iva chandra rekham. Valmiki's description is beautiful. Avyakta rekham iva chandra rekham. Imagine the glowing moon to be covered with a dirty cloth. You take a grease cloth and you rub it on the moon. How dirty it will turn. Likewise was Sita, having been separated from Ram. She was not bathing for all these days. Avyakta rekham iva chandra rekham. Pramsuf pradugdham iva varna rekham. It seems she had, what is it generally? You will get those black spots below the eye, right? Because that may come with age, and that may also come with a lot of crying. Because she has been crying all these days, it seems she was left with dry tears. She had no tears to cry. So Hanuman looks at her and then looks, where is she looking? Why is she looking at one direction? He looked at the direction in which she looked. Then he thought, this is the direction presumably where Ram is. Ekastha hridayanunam rameva anupashyati. So Hanuman then recognizes, see, before meeting Sita, what did he think? Why is this Ram lamenting over wife's abduction? He can marry somebody else. Now looking at Sita's state, he says that Ram must be a hard-hearted man. If he still exists after the departure of such a great wife, he is a hard-hearted man. Dushkritam kritaman Rama. He came as Ramaduta. He had fire on his tail. He conveyed the message to Sita and went as Sita's Bhakta to Ram. He had the Alinganam of Ram. Ram's Bhakta, he gets fire. Sita's Bhakta, he gets Alinganam. That is when he tells Sita Mata, why don't you come sit behind me? I will tie one cloth. You can sit behind me. I'll take doubles. We can fly. Sita said, no, Hanuman. Suppose the demons see you taking me, then they will chase us. And where will you keep me and fight? There is not even Kachativi to fight. Where will you keep me and fight? That is when Hanuman says, don't worry Mata, I will fly very fast like Vainate Gatifpara, like how Garuda carries the Lord, I will carry you, don't worry. Sita says, no. How will you keep me? You know what will happen, Hanuman? Tomorrow people in SVPF, they will be giving lectures about Ramayana and they will say, you know what, Sita was carried from India to Sri Lanka by a demon and was brought back from Sri Lanka to India by a monkey. What is the use of Ram? Ram is just going to be a spectator in this badminton match. That's all. So, if it is Ram's valor that he has to come and protect me. Third, Hanuman said, Mata, these are all not reasons. No, Hanuman, I will not touch any other man but Ram. Mata, I am your son. In Vesmambalam, there are so many mothers who sit behind their sons in the scooty and go. Is it wrong? You can sit behind me, I will take you. But Sita didn't. She said, see, history and literature will respect only if Ram will come and protect me. He has to come and protect me. I can protect myself. Bhasma bhasmarna tejasa. I can bury this Lanka to ashes and can walk back. But if I do that, then it will be Sita-yana, not Ramayana. So let him come and protect me. What is the use? He is holding one bow. Dandamuppette nurakko dandavani judura. Dandamuppette nurakko dandavani judura. Uruka peruka vokkajadi barugaru. So he has got a kodandam. What is the use of kodandam? It will become verum dandam. You know what dandam in Sanskrit means? Dandam means stick. It also means waste. In our yatras, what would happen is generally in some houses, the husband will walk very fast, leaving that poor lady to search for him. Or in certain houses, that lady will walk very fast, this man will be panting for breath. Very rarely do divine couples walk together, Anujagama. So in one of our yatras, one lady held the stick and her husband went away. She said, this dandam is actually like my husband, whereas my husband is a real dandam. How beautifully she has used literature. We have to admire the poetic ability that she has. So Sita said, let Ram come and protect me. Fine. Now Ram comes, he protects through ensuring that he builds the Setu, he fights for Sita. At the end of it, he does an Agni Pariksha. Very big question by women associations in India. Why did Ram do this test? You say Maryada Purushottam. We have called Ram Leela Maidan in Delhi also. But how can he do this? Yes. But remember, when Sita was at the age of 18, she asked, Striyam Purusha Vigraham? Such a bold lady she was. She doesn't need us to be her advocate. First remember, we all become advocates to Sita. Sita can manage herself. Why did Ram do this? Because Sita heard Lakshmana, who was serving as their very son. She maligned his character. She threw unwarranted and unproven accusations against him. Those accusations could never be proven. She threw at him. So Ram ensured that the same treatment is meted to her, because the world may say, if Ram doesn't admonish her, then the world may say, if somebody else had done, Ram would have punished. It is Sita. So even if it is Sita, she has to be court-martialed. That is why the same accusation, the character maligning accusation that was thrown upon Lakshmana was thrown upon her. It was thrown upon Lakshmana. Here she went and asked for Lakshmana's help to light the fire. So Agni Pariksha was not done to test her chastity. Please, Ramayana doesn't say so. Deepo Netra Turasyaiya. But it is done to ensure that you don't hurt people who wholeheartedly serve you. So this is Sita's character in a nutshell, where she is termed as very intelligent, bold, supportive of her relatives' wishes, very confident of what she wants. If she wanted to come to the forest, she will ensure that she will come. She was very loving, very caring, very non-materialistic. Had she been materialistic, she would have told Ram, how dare he give it to Bharata? See, legally as per Article 14F, he cannot give. She would have fought. She was not materialistic. She thought, whether it is Ayodhya or the forest, I am ready to come with him. Living with Ram is more important than living in this AC room of Ayodhya. Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhi. Now you will be asking me, why didn't you bring your wife? You are talking so much. This is 12,000 miles, so it is very tough to bring. Had it been the local Vesmambalam or T Nagar, I would have brought. arrange shuttle buses between India and Toronto, I will bring.
Next year you should bring.
Yeah, sure. So, Sita is termed as a very confident woman. Very, very confident. She doesn't need anybody's turning into her advocate. She needs no advocate at all. She is an advocate herself. She actually fights for us before the Lord, says Vedanta Deshika and Daya Shatakam. She does the Purushakara and she fights for us. But now we are going to go to another character called as Draupadi. See, Sita has been heard many a times because Sita is termed as a heroine. She is Sakshat incarnation of Mahalakshmi. Avirbhavaha kalasha jaladhavadhvare vapiyasya. She was born from the divine pot in Yajnashala of Janaka on plowing. So she is called Sita, the incarnation of Mahalakshmi, heroine. Who is the heroine of Ramayana? Sita, hero. Very see, to know the basics is also very important. You know, this people are watching this 1 crore. In India, if you answer questions, you get 1 crore. Ningalu, Vellala, Murukoni, Zikkinipete, Zongana. So there was one question. Who amongst these is not the wife of Dasharatha? Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra, Sita. Sir, an audience put for us. Ajida Visishtham Pradaye Jantu Navalokya Jata Nirveda. Some souls may remain as residue without getting moksha, says Vedanta Deshika. That is when we realize. So, it is very important that we understand Ramayana, hero-heroine perspective. Okay, let us go to the other epic, other itihasa. Huge itihasa. Ramayana is 24,000 shlokas. This is 1,25,000 shlokas. Matchless in size. Matchless in terms of characters. Nothing can stand before Mahabharata. Even for a person who delivers discourse, generally when people contact me in India for topics and say, I'll give Mahabharata. Shut down those. Do you think without reciting Mahabharata, we are avoiding fights in our house? Still it is a Yuddha Kandam only. How does it matter if we recite Mahabharata or we don't? It is better we recite Mahabharata. It is a big misconception in the minds of people that Mahabharata will cause fights. If it will cause fights, why will Vyasa bless us with Mahabharata? He could have kept it as a secret. So 1,25,000 verses, 1,600 characters, matchless. In that huge work of 1,600 characters, who is the hero? Who is the heroine? Heroine Dalunga. Thank God, in some places they said Rupa Ganguli. At least it is Draupadi. Good. But you see, what is the relationship between the hero and heroine of Ramayana? Husband and wife. But here, it should have, you see, if it has been Krishna, it should have ideally been Rukmini. Had it been Draupadi, it should have been Arjuna. But it is neither of them. It is Krishna from that pair and Draupadi from this pair. He is Krishna, she is Krishna. Both dark. Where there Ram was dark, Sita was bright. Certain couples, they will have that combination. Fair and dark. Black and white. Completely dark. How come? So remember, Draupadi is a very, very important character in Mahabharata. Without Draupadi, there is no Mahabharata. But we will have to spot the differences and the similarities between Draupadi and Sita. For that, we will have to understand Draupadi. Where do I start Mahabharata? That is the problem with Mahabharata. You will not know where to start. Adiyat Toduda Bharata Bhatta. Where to start? Okay, I have to start somewhere. Let us start with Gurgaon. What is Gurgaon? Where is Gurgaon? Near Delhi. Gurgaon is now called as Gurugram. The old name was also Gurugram. Guru means Acharya. Dronacharya lived in that Gramam. So it is called Gurugram, which later became Gurgaon. So, Dronacharya lived. Dronacharya was born out of a Dronam. Dronam means Arakapdi. You know Kapdi? You will take measure rice in houses who still cook rice. You will take that measure and you will do it. It is called Dronam in Sanskrit. Half of it is called Shivam. That is why Kuresha, Kurattalvan says, the king asks, is there anybody greater than Lord Shiva? But then Kurattalvan intelligently uses that Shiva as Arakapudi and says Dronam is bigger than Shiva. Dronam asti tadav param. So Dronam is one measure. So he was kept in that laboratory in that Dronam, test tube baby, IVF. So Drona was born. So since he was born out of the Dronam, he was called Drona. He grew up as in the clan of Bharadwaja. He got missiles from Parashurama. And during his childhood, his classmate, same friend who used to sit on the same bench and they used to take compass and they used to scratch that bench. Who is that friend? That friend was called Drupada. Drupada was the prince of that region, Drupada Desham. So this Panchala Desham, that province was called Panchala. So this Drupada as a little boy, as a prince, was not allowed to use VIP quarters. So he had to live with Drona. So Drona, poor Brahmin, rich Kshatriya but lived like a poor man, was Drupada. So both of them on the same bench. So one day Drona helped Drupada and Drupada said, see, you have helped me so much, little boys. See, when I get my kingdom, you know our custom, when I get my kingdom, I will give half of my kingdom to you. Okay? Okay. And they wrote it on the bench and they took one photo. Now later Drona was married to Kripi. You know who Kripi is? Kripacharya's sister. So Kripacharya was very fond of his sister, Pasamalar's sister. So he could not be away from his sister. So he thought, I'll get her married to my close friend Drona. So Drona married Kripi. They had one son called Ashwathama. This Ashwathama, I have to recite so many verses but I am not finding the right time. Anyways. So Ashwathama was only son. He used to be given flour milk, mavu pal. The other children used to get aving pal, 4.5%. So all the children used to remark, see, your milk and my milk is not of the same taste. This little boy went and asked his mother, Mata, he says, Mavin palayandri marad puriyamainda avin pal kaldu ariyan narana barundi. Says Villikutturar in Bharatam. Avin pal means not the brand name. A means pashu. Avin means cow's milk. That is why he is called A Maruvi Appan in Terezhundur. So when the child came and asked the mother, Kripi had no answers. So she directed her son Ashwathama to her husband Drona. Drona said, it's high time that I find wealth. I need immediate wealth. Who is my ATM? So he immediately thought of his friend Drupada and knocked at his friend's house. That is when his friend, he goes and tells his friend Drupada, Drupada, you remember both of us same bench compass? Drupada is in the middle of a round table conference. He looks at Drona. I'm sorry, I don't know you. I don't know you. So he tells, Drona, you come to that room. He tells, why did you come here? No, I'm your friend. You told me you will help. I am a king and you're a pauper. How can a pauper be a friend to a king? Nadaridro vasumato. If you read the verses of Mahabharata, it will echo the voices of Kali Yuga. Na avidvan vidushas sakha na shurasya sakha klibaha sakhi purvam kivishyate. So that is when Drona says, you are talking to me like this, but remember Drupada, one day I will see to it that you are defeated at my hands, and then I will acquire your kingdom and sit right in front of you. Part of the challenge now, all of it has come from Mahabharata only. In the all, Pugalrabadini yadun puviyum padikkolven ihandra shamarin unnai rattattu அன்புடேன் கவர்வேன் அகன்றமைமை உடையாய் அநீதியன்றேன் என்று சுகந்தம் ஞானம் பெற்றன் துரோணன் சொல்ல கேட்டான். That is when he has great students called the sons of Pandu, Pancha Pandavas, all of them very obedient. So that is when all the sons of Dhritarashtra also learn from Drona. That is when Drona one day asks, why don't you give me Guru Dakshina? So immediately Duryodhana says, sir, please give me your bank details, my father will transfer. I don't want money. If I wanted money, I would have asked from the starting itself, give me donation or admission fees. I don't want any fees. All I want is to see to it that Drupada is defeated. Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra heard him simultaneously. Immediately Duryodhana said, Duryodhana, the only habit was, first he has to do everything. He will miserably fail, but he is ready to accept that failure, but everything he has to do first. So Yudhishthira said, Pandavas, keep quiet. Arjuna, Bhima, let him go. So he took all the 100 brothers. They all marched. Drupada single-handedly arrested all of them. Then Drona had to send Vidura and get them out in bail. They filed some penalty and got them 100 sons back. That is when Arjuna tells Yudhishthira, you don't come. Because if Yudhishthira comes, he will be worried only about rules. Very, very stringent. So Arjuna said, you take rest, my brother, we will go. So Nakula and Sahadeva were protecting the wheels. Bhima with his mace walked in the front and Arjuna sat on the chariot with all the missiles and walked towards the city of Panchala. Drupada came. He was surprised to see a warrior with such great valor in his own looks. When you look at a person itself, you will be able to tell whether he is good at speaking or not. Some people, Ivara pesha pora. Madhu told me, you should not look like that. And the speaker should also ensure that he carries such decent looks. He should act as if he is a good speaker, because a good speaker will never speak until and unless needed. So Bhima walked. Arjuna single-handedly managed to subdue Drupada. He took a dagger and went inside the chariot and he arrested Drupada, and Drupada was brought before Drona. And that is when Drona says, see, the kingdom north of Ganga becomes my territory of your kingdom, and south of Ganga, half of the kingdom is for you, Drupada. Make the capital as Kampilya now. So you rule happily. But today, again, I am not taking that half of your kingdom to ensure that I have won over you, but I want to ensure that we become great friends again. So he gives a lifesaver to Drupada, and Drupada goes away. But he goes with the intent to somehow subdue Drona. So he performs a Mahayajnam. For that he goes to two rishis called as Yaja and Upayaja. Upayaja was the younger one, great rishi. But he says, I will not do this Putra Kameshti. I am not interested in all this. Go meet my elder brother. So he goes to Yaja and Yaja performs the sacrifice. At the end of it, the Payasa Pindam has to be consumed by the wife of Drupada. Wife of Drupada, very diet conscious. This payasam had lot of ghee on it. So what she did, she put this entirely in the fire. The fire, the sacrificial fire. Mai pungalathin nirantangu therindha manipunan avan devikku adikka tindal ஆகிய பின் சொரிந்து கனலின் உபயோசம் இமை பிரசுதனை தொற்றுவித்தன. So she put that inside the fire. It was blazing fire, and then arose a warrior with a crown, with a scabbard, with a sword, with all armlets, with proper silk cloth. His looks itself justified that he will be a great warrior. So he was called Drishtadyumna, says Mahabharata. It says, Drishtatvad Dhyumna Dhyutya Samabhavadapi Drishtadhyumnaha Kumaroyam Drupadasya Bhavittidi. So he came as a son of Drupada. Drupada was happy because he desired a son who can kill Drona. He desired a daughter who can marry Arjuna. So first Drishtadhyumna came. Then after that came another blazing fire, and from there arose a lady with a thin hip. Sumadhyama. From the far it will look as if the hip is missing. If you get closer, you can actually get to see a thin portion that connects the upper torso and the lower torso. That's how the hip should be, it seems. That's what they say. Kumari chapi panchali Veda midhyad sumithita. She arose from the fire. Subhaga darshani yangi. She had such good looks. Swasitayastalochana. She was dark. You know, in darkness itself there are various levels. Karupa. That dark. She was that dark. But Swasti Sisaya Chalochana. She had lotus like eyes. Shyama Padma Pala Sakshi. Shyama. Somewhere between greenness and shifting more towards black. Shyama. Padma Pala Sakshi Neela Kunjita Murdhaja. Like the blue lily, the blueness was attached to her long hair. Long hair. Tamra Uttanga Nakhi Shubhra. Her nails were so beautiful. Subhro Sharupina Payodhara Manmel Borutti Arakkagulam. That is when Villiputtura, the Tamil commentator on Mahabharata, states, those days there arose a lady from the sacrificial fire that was oblated by Janaka to kill the race of Asuras called Sita. Today arises another woman from the fire called Draupadi to annihilate the race of Kshatriyas. Draupadi came. She was called Krishna, it seems. Krishnetya Bruman Krishna. Krishna Bhutsahi Varnataha. She was called Krishna. Krishna means dark lady. Krishna means dark man. That is why they are the hero and the heroine. So she came. That is when the Pandavas went to the wax palace. I am not getting into the details of this. You know that very well. So they went to the wax palace. Then Vidura ensured that he dug a tunnel. It's a very beautiful scene in Mahabharata. You know, when they are about to leave to the wax palace, that time Vidura tells one shloka in Mahabharata. Yudhishthira, you know, rats live in the holes in the ground. Yudhishthira. Oh, yes. And they go. Now Bhima pulls the shirt off. Yudhishthira and asks, rats live in the holes of the ground. Is this what our uncle has to say when we are going to a palace? Will anybody say this? Yudhishthira said, see, this is a code word learnt in our entrepreneurship course. For kings, they have to read one course. In that, code words are very important. So I know what is the meaning, you keep quiet. That is why Vidura ensured he dug a hole below the palace for their escape. Very beautiful Mahabharata is, if you get to read it. So then they go to one village called as Eka Chakra in anonymity. They don't want to reveal to the Kauravas that they are still living. So they live as Brahmanas there. That is when they kill one Asura called Bakasura. He used to consume a lot. Bhima goes and kills him. Bakasura's death, the news of Bakasura's death reaches Duryodhana's ears, but he does not think Bhima is still living. That is when a note comes stating that Kampilya Nagare Draupadi Swayamvara Amanta Patram. Here is one invitation to Draupadi Swayamvara in Kampilya Nagaram. So all kings go, even these 5 Brahmanas go. So people are wondering, why these Brahmanas are coming for a Kshatriya Swayamvara? But nobody to question, they kept quiet. In those days, to marry Draupadi, look at the test. For Ram, it was lifting the bow. Here, it was very tough. The bow will have 5 arrows. You will not get replacement. The 6th arrow you want, waste, it has gone. There is no supply chain there. So, there will be one fish that is attached to a circle that goes in the clockwise for a certain period of time, anti-clockwise in a certain period of time. You will not know how to decide. And that circle which is attached to the ceiling will also go up and down. So it's a 3D clockwise, anti-clockwise moving single fish attached to one circle. And its reflection will be seen on a pond, and Arjuna has to handle it effectively and has to hit on the eye of that fish by looking at its reflection. Kalyaname vandam. But Arjuna somehow managed. That is when Karna comes. First Karna comes. Karna became the close friend of Duryodhana. Duryodhana has gifted him one territory. He said, no tax region, like Delaware. Go there. Angadesha. You become the king of it. So, Karna comes. That is when Draupadi says, how can I marry one who does not know his own parents? She is very curt. That is the difference between Sita and Draupadi. Sita will think what to talk. The only place where she crossed her limits was when she spoke to Lakshmana. Else, she is a very well-worded person. She knows what to talk. But Draupadi is very curt. People may think, but she is asking, how will I marry a person? What is your initial? In your school records, what is your initial? Karna did not know how to answer. So he left. That is when Arjuna wants to come. So that is when Krishna tells Balarama, Balarama, Tam Dadarsha, look there. Can you see those 5 Brahmanas? Yes. Don't they resemble our Pandavas, Balarama? Now look at them very carefully. Do a Photoshop and think of all of them without the beard. He did, and he knew that they were all Pandavas. Beautiful verse you will see in Mahabharata. Rajnya sarveshu dharmeshu deyaha panta dvijotaya. So, Karna comes and he is upset. He throws his bow and goes away. Drishtva tutam Draupadi vakyam uchchai jagat naham varayami sutam. He's hurt terribly. He wanted to marry Draupadi. Very important situation in Mahabharata. Nobody will even tell this. When he comes to Mahabharata, to the Swayamvaram of Draupadi, he already has one 15-year-old son. He comes with his son in the chariot. And he tells his son, see, both of us will apply. If she is married to you, she is my daughter-in-law. If she is married to me, she is your mother. For this Karna, we are telling Ennuyir Thozhi, Keladi Sedi, Ullattil Nalla Ullam Urangadhenbadu. See, Karna has never been positioned as a great person in Mahabharata. We have made him great. We have made a hero out of Karna. Karna is a very jealous person as per Mahabharata. There is no instance of his generosity except giving his kavacham to Indra. Today we are finding so many small stories. People say, see, in this Chitrakatha they say this. I don't know, I know only Vyasa's Chitrakatha. Vyasa doesn't say so. Forget about that. Now, Arjuna single-handedly manages. Then Drupada is finally happy. Whether it is Kshatriya or Brahmana, finally my daughter is getting married. After having kept such a tough test, like Big Brother. Where will he win? So finally she got married. So she goes along with Arjuna. Every day, these people will go on Unchavritti and will tell their mother, Mata, we have got Bhojanam. So she will say, distribute amongst yourselves and consume. So they say, Tam Yajnaseni Paramah Pratitau. They brought Yajnaseni. Yajnasena is Drupada, so she is called Yajnaseni. So they brought Yajnaseni. Bhikshetya Thevadayatam Narangayau Kudigata Satvana Vikshya Putrau Provacha Bhumteti Samitya Sarve. Mata, we have brought one Bhojanam today. She did not look back. Distribute and have. They were always surprised. How can we distribute right hand for Bhima, left hand for Draupadi? What is it? Mata, Mother, look here. You fools, how can you treat a lady like one bhojana? She has to be treated like a person. What have you done? Mata, but we have said so. We will listen to our mother's words till every word is fulfilled. So she said, what can we do now? Yudhishthira said, as per Dharma Shastram, if the mother says distribute, then all 5 of us have to marry her. Huge problem for the registrar those days, because registrar has never registered one lady and 5 men's signatures at one go. So he was very confused. He said, how can I do this? Hearing to this conversation, the spy went and informed Sri.Dushyanth and Drupada. He said, see what has happened. Immediately Drupada and Sri.Dushyanth came. That is when Kunti said, in such troubled times, who else can come to my rescue? Krishna, Krishna, Mahabaho, please come and protect me. That is when Krishna comes. He says, Draupadi, there is one huge history behind this. She asked what? You know, in those days, you were actually a damsel. One day Indra came and saw you. He saw you and he asked where these lotuses have come, because you were seated on the banks of a pond which had beautiful lotuses. You said, see, they have come from Kailasha. So you took him to Kailasha, and Lord Shiva and Parvati were having their private moments. That is when Indra looked at them and he laughed. That is when Parvati looked at him and he stood petrified. So this Indra who was sinned was taken back to the cave, where Yamadharma Raja had also committed the similar sin, Vayudeva had also committed the similar sin, and Ashwini Putras had also committed the similar sin. So he joined them. And these 5 people again sought the mercy of Shiva and Parvati, who said, you go to Narayana and Vaikuntham. And Vaikuntha Narayana said, these 5 will be born as Pancha Pandavas, and the damsel who brought you will be the single wife to all of them. So Drupada said, why should one lady be 5? Because he said, there is another birth for this Draupadi. This is one birth, birth number 1. Birth number 2. In birth number 2, she performed penance to Lord Shiva, and she wanted a good husband. She could have asked for once, or she could have asked, please choose one good husband and give. But she said, I want a person who is very handsome, who adheres to rules, who is very powerful, who has got the Shastric knowledge to do the right things alone, and who is also a great warrior. Shiva was confused. In none of his previous or the future creations, you can find all these qualities in one person. Certain children are very demanding. They will tell their parents, you should accept people with their own limitations. That is what life is all about. You cannot get the perfect person in your life, because we are not perfect. Only if we are perfect, we can expect somebody perfectionist for us as a partner. So she asked, it seems, Patim sarva gunopetair ichhami iti punaha punaha. Again and again she asked, I want one person, I want one person, I want one person, I want one person, I want one person. In those days, demigods or gods, they were very vigilant about the number of times. See, Aditi and Prishnigarbha, that is Sutapa and Prishni, as a couple, they worshipped Lord Narayana. And they said, I want a son like you, like you, like you. So he was born as Prishnigarbha to them. In the next Janma, he was born as Vamana to Aditi and Kashyapa. And in the next Janma, he was born as Krishna to Vasudeva and Devaki. So thrice they asked, thrice he was born. So she asked for 5 times. So Krishna said, you will have 5 husbands. She asked, why can't 5 gunas be in one person? That is very tough, Draupadi. So you will have to marry. Immediately Drupada asked, the registrar is saying he will not register. What to do now? Then immediately Krishna said, registrar, you go to your archives and take 2 registers. One is Prachetasa register, because 10 Prachetasas married one lady. You go check that register. You should need a precedent, right? They did marry. So Draupadi's case is not new. It has got one precedent. So you can register this marriage. So that is when Vasishtha's student comes and tells Draupadi, Draupadi, you have married them. Be very happy. whenever you are in distress, think of Hari. Don't be in a hurry. Two things. Think of Hari. Harir harati papani. Think of Hari. Now, that is when they lived happily. They wanted their portion of land. That is when Duryodhana said, we cannot part away with Hastinapura. Upon lot of compulsion, this jealous, blinded from inside and outside, Dhritarashtra gave away a part of the investment land of Hastinapuram. That investment land was a wasteland, dump yard. It was called Khandava Prastham. Khandava Prastham was given to Pandavas. Poor Pandavas, they started crying, what will we do in this place? Krishna said, don't worry, I will get the best of the architects and best of the agriculturists. They will do their best soil cultivation. So they created this place. Indra sent his own person, but Indra wanted his name to come in this place. Like Hiranya colony, Hiranyakashipu colony, he named Indraprastha. Khandava Prastha became Indraprastha. That is when Duryodhana comes upon invitation, housewarming ceremony, Draupadi and 5 of us invite you, please come. So Duryodhana came, he walked, and as he walked, he saw the beautiful flooring, morbonite, vitrified, all new kinds of flooring. He thought it was water, but it remained as a tile. Beautiful flooring. Then he walked further, and he thought it was a tile, and kept his leg there, and he fell inside that pond. Draupadi was standing with her friends in one corner, and she started laughing. She didn't have to do that. She would be dragged to so many problems. Immediately after he fell, she took one photo and sent it to all the media. Everybody, WhatsApp message started circulating. Today that is the phenomenon, WhatsApp, everything. That is why I am very vigilant. What I would have talked to Dushyant, Sridhar is sleeping, yawning. He himself yawns. We are yawning till now, even he has started yawning. We are very vigilant these days. So immediately it was sent. Now Duryodhana had this as a blot in his memory. Later he wanted their kingdom back because the kingdom was so beautiful. That is when Shishupala comes, because he performed, Yudhishthira performed the housewarming ceremony. And in that housewarming ceremony, you have to do puja to everyone whoever has come. Vango, Vango. But the first puja, Agre puja, should go to the best person. So they thought the old living, always living person was Bhishma. Yanda tandai 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 tamuttappan yelpadika altodangi is white beard. So they thought, let us go and worship him. Bhishma said, see, I am old by age. As per Aadhaar card, I am old. But as per knowledge, I am not old. So the only person who is fit for puja is Krishna. You go and do puja to him. So Sahadeva was very happy. He took his entire Archana that day and went to Krishna's feet. That is when Shishupala stood up. He said, how come this person who used to steal butter from Pankajam Mami and Komadam Mami's house, he get a great puja, and you call him a person of great wisdom. He used to go behind these illiterate and dull cows and calves, and today you are giving puja to him. He is unfit, he is a liar. He started accusing him. Krishna started counting. Ekam, Dve, Chantra. Balarama, are you numbed? What are you counting? 5, 6, 7, 98, 99, 100. Pratibhatashreni Bhishana. It went and chopped Shishupala's head. Immediately Yudhishthira was worried, but he did not want to say anything. Immediately the Punyaha Vachanam was performed. At the end of it, Duryodhana went back to Hastinapura. He says, Asuyam Agni-meva. Jealousy is burning inside me in my stomach, father. I cannot see those Pandavas happy. There are certain people who can never see others happy. So he started feeling the jealousy. I want that. Dhritarashtra is a very, very cunning king. Ramanuja says in Bhashyam, Antah Karana Andhaha. He was not blind externally alone, he was blind internally. As a king, he did not know how to differentiate between his sons and others' sons. A king should never do that. All are his subjects. That's why he asked, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samavedha Yuyutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavastaiva. What are my sons and Pandu's sons doing? Will a king ask like this? He will never do so. But he did. So immediately Shakuni said, Duryodhana, don't worry, I will remove that fire. I will give you an Eno. What is that Eno? Bring those Pandavas for a dice fight, for a Dyutam. I will handle. You just say, my hand is not working well today, lot of pain, twitching pain, I have put Tylenol, and you make me as a scribe. In those days in Indian examinations, if your hand is broken, you can make somebody as a scribe. So you assign that task to me, give the power of attorney, I will take care. So Draupadi could not be consulted. Pandavas did not consult her. She was Ekavastra Dharini. She was in her periods. So she was wearing one single piece of her cloth, and so she could not come out. So she was in her harem, the Pandavas came and they started playing. So Yudhishthira started pawning. First he kept the horses, then he kept the elephants, he kept the chariots, he kept his weapons, he kept his kingdom, he kept the land, he kept the people, he kept the agricultural land, he kept all the infrastructure, then he kept his Sahadeva, then Nakula, then Arjuna, then Bhima, then himself. He lost everything terribly. Finally he says, I have lost. That is when Duryodhana says, you have not lost everything. I have lost everything, Duryodhana. You know I am honest. No, you are not. You still have Draupadi. That is when the other Pandavas, they get up in fury. Yudhishthira says, no, we are all slaves now, keep quiet. That time Bhima says, after having heard a person speak about our wife Draupadi, if we are still being mute spectator to it, it is because of you, my brother Yudhishthira. Had you not been my elder brother, I would have chopped off your hands and thrown them into fire. Arjuna says, no, when we are in distress, they will want to divide and rule. Don't do that, Bhima, keep quiet. That is when he sends a learned person. His name is Priyamvada, if I am right. This Priyamvada goes and he says, Pratikramin. He goes and says, Mata Draupadi, can I come inside? Yes. You have been called to the court. Why am I called to the court? I cannot come today. Yegavastra tvadhoni virodamana rajaswala. I am very weak today. Sabhamagamya panchali. How can I walk steadily? I am not in a mood to walk. Why should I come? Because you are a slave. What are you talking? Pandavas had pawned you. They had put you on stake and they have lost you. Yudhishthira, all the Pandavas have become slaves. Okay, then did they lose me and then lose them? Or they lost themselves first and then lost me? Mata, that and all I cannot answer, Mata. I am not such a learned person. You come. You go ask this to Yudhishthira and then come back. He goes, Pratikramin goes. He says, Yudhishthira, Draupadi Mata is asking whether you put yourself at stake first, lost and then put her, or lost her then put yourself. That time Duryodhana calls and slaps Pratikramin. She is a slave. She has no right to question. Pull her here. How can I do? Ekavastram Rajaswala. She is in the periods. How can I pull her? Do that immediately. You will not listen. Dushasana, you go. Ye Rajasuya Vabhrite Jalena Mahakratau Mantra Putena Siktaha Te Pandavanam Paribhuya Viryam Bala Pramrishta Dhritarashtrena. Dhritarashtra, when they were actually putting Draupadi on stake, he was asking every now and then, Jayitvatva, have we won? Have we won? Look at him. Is he a king and a father-in-law who asks? That is why Krishna ensured that he annihilated the entire race. Stream apamanam tam samaja apamaneva. If you insult the right woman, it means you are insulting the entire society. Krishna fights in Bhagavad Gita. So this Pratikramin is not allowed to go. Dushyasana comes, Rajasvalena tam Keshini, he pulls her by her hair, long hair. Vedanta Deshika states in Dramidopanishad Tatparya Ratnavali, Panchali Gatra Shobha. It seems in Mahabharata, all the women who used to dress her, especially they used to do the hair dressing, they thought, how come one lady is married to 5 men? Is it written on her head? We say like Talela Eluthu. So what they did, it seems, Vyasa states, they separated her hair by drawing the line. That is when women started taking that Vagid, says Vyasa. They take Vagid, right? You separate it into 2. Because they wanted to check if it's written on her head. That is when they were combing her hair, Vyasa says, each woman thought, I should have been born as a man to relish what a beauty this lady is. Panchali Gatra Shobha, says Vedanta Deshika. And today her hair is being pulled. And she says, I cannot hold my Ekavastram Dushasana, don't pull me. He just keeps pulling her hair and drags her to the court. They see traces of blood strewn all over the floor. The Sabha Madhye, all the Kuru Rajas are seated. She is unable to even get up. Ponnai Sirikkum Punguil Punalvaviyin Endru Yenkulam Mensirinda Shenganivai Marada Hirangi Aluttara. She is not able to stand. She says, Bhishma, Pitamaha, please listen. Is it right for them to do in your presence? He says, no. See, Duryodhana played deceitfully with Yudhishthira. But your husband Yudhishthira says Duryodhana played correctly. What will I do? See, yes, when he has lost himself, he cannot pawn you. But your husband says that wife is husband's property. What can I do? Bhishma, this is time for you to rescue me and you are talking about rules. No, I am still thinking about it. Give me 5 minutes then. She tells Drupada, were you waiting, Drona, were you waiting for an opportunity to take revenge on Drupada's daughter? You have enmity with my father. I am not commenting about it, but am I not like your daughter? He says, Mata, I take salary from them. My hands have been tied. Vidura stands up. This is wrong, Duryodhana. She is the daughter-in-law of this clan. You cannot insult her. You are born of a servant and you are talking about rules. You sit. Duryodhana tells. That is when Karna tells, he says, Asyaha sabhamalayanam cha chitra nidite matihi yekambaradhara rasvam vyapyatha vapi vivisrita. You are a slave, Draupadi. Whether you are bought in one cloth to the assembly or without any clothes, it doesn't matter to me. Come and sit on my lap. Vikarna, one of the only brothers in the sons of Dhritarashtra who stands and says what you are doing is wrong, he is also dumbfolded and he is made to sit. That is when she runs like a deer who is being chased by a lion, says Vyasa. She is unable to run, there is blood everywhere. Pandavas are quiet. That is when you remember after the marriage I told you Vasishta had sent one message through his student. Whenever you are in distress, think of Hari. That is when she thinks. Jnatam maya vasisthena puragitam mahatmana mahatyapti samprapte smartavyo bhagavan harihi. Hey Hari, she thinks. At that point in time, Vyasa's words reach her ears. She thinks of the Lord. That is when she starts reciting. आकृष्यमाणे वसने द्रौपद्याश्चिन्तितो हरिः गोविन्दद्वारकावासिं कृष्ण गोपी जनप्रियः कौरवैः परिभूतां मां किं न जानासि केशव हे नाथ हे रमानाथ व्रजनाथार्तिनाशन कौरवार्णमग्नां मामुद्धरस्व जनार्दन कृष्ण कृष्ण महायोगिन् विश्वात्मन् विश्वभावन प्रपन्नां पाहि गोविन्द कुरु मध्ये वासीदतम्. Again he tries to pull. She is unable to hold. Beyond a certain point, she loses power in her hands. She holds that sari with her teeth. That is when she feels it is high time that I give this bharam of protecting myself to the Lord. Sharanagati. Dhyayas sada savitramandala madhyavarti Narayana sarasijasana sannivishtaha Keyuravan Magarakundalavan Kiriti Hari Hiranmaya Vapuhu Dhrida Shanka Chakraha Sri.Dwaraka Nilayachyuta Govinda. She says Dwaraka Nilayachyuta Govinda. She is in Hastinapuram near Haryana. Krishna is in Dwaraka, Gujarat, 1300 miles. How will he come? Dwaraka Nilayachyuta. Krishna is playing dice with Rukmini. That is when he starts shedding tears. Rukmini asks, why are you crying? You generally make others cry. No. My life is in danger there. Dwaraka Nilayachyuta Govinda. Krishna, weren't you the one who protected those cows that day? Why can't you come and protect me? People say that you have Panchayudham. Spurat Sahasrari Shikhari Tibram Sudarshanam Bhaskara Koti Tulyam. And today, won't that Shanka Chakra, one of those 5 weapons, come and protect me? Shanka Chakra Gada Pani Dwaraka Nilayachyuta. People say that you are Achyuta, the one who never leaves or betrays his devotees, and today I am your devotee, seeking your help at this moment. Nilayachyuta Govinda. Aren't you the one with the great valor but with still mercy laden lotus-like eyes? Pundarikaksha. Why don't you come and protect me? Rakshama. I don't have anybody else here in this court to raise one word for me. Govinda Pundarikaksha Rakshamam Sharanagatam. She left her cloth from her mouth. And that is when the entire assembly put their heads down. Kuru assembly. Dhritarashtra did not know how to react. He was already blind. Bhishma was full of tears. Drona was full of tears. Panchapandavas closed their eyes. Duryodhana and Dushasana were looking at her. That is when the sari was just about to be completed, came another colored sari. Dushasana thought she must be lying that she has got Ekavastram. She must have draped herself with another. She pulled that. Again, third color sari came. She did not know what happened. She just stood like that, says Vyasa. When she was pulled, Rukmini, who was playing with Krishna stopped playing. He was doing something like handloom there. He was taking one thread from the Mangalya Sutram of the wives of Kauravas and he made a sari out of it. And he sent those saris. Sabhavich Krishna Krishna Draupadi Pukari Itne mein hari aa gaye Sab ganyan chhod gaye Surdas pare kalo Surdas pare kalo Deenana dukh haran rev Hare Tumare द्रौपदी की लाज राखी तुम बढ़ायो जी, हरि तुम हरो जन की पीर। भगत कारण रूप नर हरि धर्यो धार, शरीर हरिन कश्यप मार लीनो, धर्यो धरिन जी, हरि तुम हरो जन के वीर। बूढ़ते गजराज राख्यो कियो बाहर नीर, दासी मीरा लाल गिरधर, दुख जहाँ तहाँ वीर। हरि 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 तुम हरो जन की पीर। They were all surprised. She was protected. That is when she vowed, my long hair was a piece of attraction for everyone when I used to put it as a braid. Veni, Triveni means you put that into 3 branches and put them together. But today, now that you have touched Dushyasana, I will not want to dress myself with the best of the hairdressing from now on. I will see to it that the next time I do it, I wash my hair in the blood from the chest that oozes out of you. Bhima stood there and said, I now vow that I will hit on the thigh at which they said that she has to sit, and I will break open the chest and tear and drink that blood. Arjuna stood up and said, Karna, your death will be meted in my hands. Nakula stood up and looked to Shakuni. Yudhishthira said, all the remaining Kauravas who did not support this injustice, they could have done all this before. That is why when Acharya, he was telling Mahabharata and the student was intently listening. What did Draupadi say? Hari, come and protect me. Krishna, come and protect me. The student asked, see, she does not have one but has 5 husbands there. She could have shouted, Yudhishthira, Hastinapura Nilayachyuta, Yudhishthira, Vayuputra Bhima, Indraputra Arjuna. She did not say. Why did she resort to thinking of Hari, Krishna, who is 1300 miles away? For this the Acharya said, I will recite the Tamil verse. It is written 800 years before. Bharta தன் பத்னியோடு ஒரு பந்தையில் நடந்தால் கல்லிடலினால் அம்மே என்னுமா போலே. The husband and the wife are walking together in a garden. They are walking, there is one little stone. And she hits upon that stone, that wife. It gives her that pain. She has to shout. Husband's name is Suresh. Suresh! Patvada. Amma. Even though her mother will be living 12,000 miles away, she will want to use that word which gives her solace, not pain. So she will not shout Suresh. It will add to the pain. Likewise, the Acharya said, when Draupadi is in distress, why will she shout the names of her husband? She will shout the name of her mother, and that mother is Krishna. That is when she is in the forest, Krishna comes and consoles. Krishna, why are you worried? Draupadi says, who's Krishna? She tells Krishna, Krishna, except you, nobody in that assembly, Krishna, had mercy for me. Krishna said, see, whatever I did for you, Draupadi, is not sufficient. You fell at my feet, you did Sharanagati. I have to do much more than this. I gave you sari and you're thanking me for this, for that Sharanagati. What can I give as a match to it? Today I promise, Draupadi, to all those people who have insulted you, without even lifting my weapon in that Yuddham of Mahabharata, I will see to it that every person is annihilated. Just by sitting as a charioteer who manages horses, I will move every act. and I will prove to that Shakuni what a master strategist I am. And that is when the Yuddham happens, and at the end of it, Ashwathama, Drishtadyumna comes and kills Drona. You know this, right? Drona in those days never used to feel tired. See, generally in lectures, after people listen to lectures, body, kettadu kashtamar, kettade tired ah Prasadam will be served, take it and go. See, listening is a major art. You have to keep looking at the same person for 2 hours. And that too if that person is not a very great looking person. Imagine, it's not an easy joke. So you will feel tired, but Drona will never feel tired. So Krishna thought how to handle this person. But he will feel tired only if something happens to his son Ashwathama. In that battlefield, only 2 were called Ashwathama. One Drona's son, the other was an elephant. So he asked Bhima to kill an elephant called Ashwathama, and the Ashwathama elephant fell dead. He asked Yudhishthira, what has happened? Yudhishthira said, the elephant called Ashwathama is dead. He said, use this way. In Sanskritam, whichever way you put the sentence, it will give you meaning. Ashwathama hataha kunjaraha. Ashwathama is dead, the elephant. The elephant Ashwathama is dead. Dead is the elephant Ashwathama. Whichever way you put in English, you will get the meaning. So Ashwathama kunjaraha hataha. Ashwathama, elephant is dead. Krishna said, reorder and say, Ashwathama is dead, elephant. So Yudhishthira said, whatever Krishna says, I will say, Ashwathama hataha. Ashwathama is dead. It reached Drona's ears. Kunjaraha, that time Krishna blew the conch. So that word elephant alone did not reach Drona's ear. So Drona came and said, Drishtadyumna killed him. Drishtadyumna was angry. So he shot 5 arrows at 5 men who were sleeping, thinking them to be Pandavas. It finally ended up being the sons of Draupadi who were born through the Pandavas. So he aimed at an astam that will kill the fetus of Uttara's child. Uttara's fetus. So that is when Krishna goes as Vishnu Ratha and protects the child. See, Bhagavan, the Lord was born as Krishna to Devaki, as Rama to Kaushalya. But those mothers were not called Uttara. You know what Uttara in Sanskrit means? Uttara means the very respected one, great one. Uttara. Uttara means very respected one. When the Lord was given birth by Kaushalya and Devaki, they were not called Uttara. When the Lord's devotees like Ramanujacharya and Adi Shankara were given birth by Kantimati and Aryamba, they were not called Uttara. Giving birth to great devotees, mothers were not called Uttara. Giving birth to gods, they were not called Uttara. But she was called Uttara because when the great devotee Parikshit was inside her womb, the Lord also went inside her womb to protect the child. So she housed both the Lord and the devotee at the same time. So she is called Uttara, the greater one. This is a secret of Bhagavatam. So now Draupadi finally, when they spotted that Ashwathama had done this, Krishna drags Ashwathama and brings him to Draupadi's feet and says, Draupadi, you do anything with him. She says, though he has killed my sons, he is still the son of my husband's guru, so I cannot kill him. So I will forgive him. So this is Draupadi. Now where did we bring Sita? Sita, when the demonesses wanted to threaten her, Trijata comes and says, fall at the feet of Sita, because Ram may torture us if he comes to know that we are tormenting her. That is when Sita says, Alamesha Paritratu, don't worry Trijata, if my husband wins, I will ensure that I give protection to them. So she ensured that she gave protection to those people who tormented her. Draupadi is the one who ensured she forgave the person who killed her own children. There, Sita was very curt and she hurt the feelings of a great person called Lakshmana. Here, though he was a fitting person to be hurt, yet she mocked at him, Draupadi. There, when Ravana comes and abducts Sita, he pulls her by her hair and lifts her by her thigh. Here, Dushyasana comes and pulls Draupadi by her hair, and later Dushyala's husband Jayadratha also comes and pulls her by her hair. There, to rescue Sita, Ram constructs the Setu and kills the demons. For the sake of insulting Draupadi, Krishna resorts to killing Kauravas. There she arose out of a desham called as Janaka, Videha, Mithila, Janaki, Vaidehi, Maithili. Here she was Yajnasena's daughter Yajnaseni, Drupada's daughter Draupadi, from Panchala, Panchali. Her original name was Sita because she was born out of the edge of a plough from the ground. She was born of the sacrificial fire in the ground, so she was called Krishna, Dark One. There, the Lord is her husband. Here the Lord is her companion. The Lord is her Ardhanga, the better half. For her, she is the better half. Why is it called better half? There is something called half. Half and a 0.5. If out of 1, if I divide 2, 1 is 0.5, the other is 0.5. What is half and half? It should be said half, half. What is the better half? I had this doubt. In Pilani, we used to debate. When we did not understand the engineering subjects, we could always end up in Ramayana. Because this is at least give us salvation. So we used to debate amongst us. Why is the wife here? And in terms of Divya Dampati, Mahalakshmi is called the better half. Paramatmika Yai Namaha, better half. Why? Then we debated in maths. See, 0.48. 0.48. What will you approximate it to? 0.5. 0.52? 0.5. Both are approximated to 0.5. But is 0.52 equal to 0.48? No. Still 0.52 is greater than 0.48. Both have been approximated to 0.5. Then can we say that 0.52 is the better half? Amongst the halves, isn't this the better half? Yes. So, though the qualities of Mahavishnu and Lakshmi are the same, she holds 1 or 2 qualities better than the Lord. So she is called the better half. That is why Vedanta Deshika says, Nityam Ajnata Nigraha, the Lord knows to punish, but she does not know how punishment is also. She does not know how punishment will look like. So since she has the ignorance about punishment, she is better than the Lord. See, at times ignorance is also bliss. So I think we should have not come for these lectures. But you have got no other way. So, Draupadi is also born of the sacrificial fire, like how Sita was born. Sita was married to one. Draupadi was still a pativrata by marrying 5 because she ensured that even by marrying 5 men, she ensured justice. This is what they say. It's very tough to understand. See, people question, why did Draupadi marry 5 men? Why can't you ask the same question to Dasharatha? Right? So, instead of justifying marrying, we should understand that Rama's life is more ideal. Let us follow Ram. Let us follow Draupadi's valor. Let's not take the other way around. So that is very important. So Draupadi is a very strong character. So does Krishna. Here Ram is a strong character, so is Sita. Both have lots of similarities. Both have lots of differences, but the differences are lesser, the similarities are more. That is why they are treated the 2 strongest women in the Panchakanya. So Sita and Draupadi, one in Treta, one in Dwaparam, one during Ramavataram, one during Krishnavataram, one in Ramayana, one of the Itihasas, one in the other Itihasam called Mahabharatam. Because of Ramayana, Nala Setu was constructed. And because of Draupadi, Bhagavad Gita, the Siddhanta Setu was constructed. So this is the similarities that we have seen between Sita and Draupadi. Sita has many temples. Draupadi incidentally has a few temples in Tamil Nadu, in the local village temples as Draupadi Amman. But she is not termed with the same qualities. They treat her as a goddess, as Renuka Devi. Parashurama's mother Renuka Devi is what they treat her as. Renuka Devi Samrakshitoham Hanisham Renuka Devi Venuvadyadinoda Vijayanagara Sthite Manikya Bhushani Madhura Rasabhashini Bana Sadrisakshini Parashurama Janani Konatrayavasini Guru Vishwasini Kannada Bhankadena Gatoshini Renuka This is a very rare kriti, the ragam called Kannada Bangla. Sa sa re re ga ga pa pa re nu ka. So this is a very rare raga. So Draupadi has been celebrated. Sita as usual, right from Bhadrachalam to Tiruvelliyangudi to Pullambudangudi to Vaduvur to Tiruyavvalur, which is Tiruvallur, to Tirupputkudi. She is worshipped everywhere. So Sita and Draupadi are two strong women. So if women have to really fight, they need to understand what rights they were given in the past. Yes, Draupadi was not treated well, but she ensured that she fought for the injustice that she was meted to. And there stood the Lord with her. In certain families, still women have to fight for their rights even in this Kali Yuga. May Sita and Draupadi bless them with that valor to arise out of that injustice, and they should be treated at par with men, because in our Sanatana Dharma culture, women are not treated at par. Lakshmi is treated one step higher than the Lord. Sri Mahalakshmi. Jagadeka Mataram. So that concept should percolate in every family, and respect should be given to women as such in society, and they should also realize their qualities and still retain that womanhood. That womanhood's major quality is Vatsalyam, mother-like affection, and that should continue. We see so many news articles in Bombay train, mother throws the child from the train. Then how can she call herself a mother? Mother has to be the all-compassionate one. Then only she can imbibe Mata Mahalakshmi's qualities in her. So such qualities should also be there, and the society should also respect. With this, the 5th day of the lecture with 2 hours and 1 minute and 28 seconds has concluded. So I again thank you all for the great cooperation and for this participation. Generally, most Carnatic concerts or dance concerts are held on weekends. One, majorly because on weekends people are more relaxed and they can find time to come here. But lectures traditionally are not meant only for weekends but even for the weekdays, because only in a series you will be able to relish. But still, all of you in such a huge city like Toronto, when you are living distances away like 40 kilometers and 60 kilometers, you have all managed to come despite your tight work schedule. It shows the interest that you all have towards Sanatana Dharma. May this temple and the allied organizations that support both Bharati Kalamandram and our great Sringeri Matham honored SBPF, both of them who jointly along with SIFA who have hosted me here for all these days, may their spiritual activities continue, and all of you should support them wholeheartedly in their initiatives. And again, I thank you all for having participated in all these 5 days of Shravana Yajnam. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Swasti Prajabhyah Pariparayantam Yajnena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kayena Vacha Manasendriyaiva Buddhyatmanabha Prakriti Swabhava Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Sriman Narayana Yeti Samarpaya. I have got my lectures scheduled from tomorrow again. 2 days I am giving lectures at the Perumal Temple in Columbus, Ohio State. Then I am going for a 6-day lecture series on Ramayanam at the Balaji Temple of Great Lakes, Michigan, Detroit. Then another 6 days at Chicago at Lemont Temple and Milwaukee, and 20 other cities till the 4th of October, most of them in English. So the schedule, the venues, they are all put up at on my FB page, Facebook page. You can search for my name, Dushyanth Sridhar. You can follow and you can get to see those brochures. If you've got your friends and relatives in each of these places, you may kindly intimate to them. Even if they are non-Tamil speaking audience, that's what the English lectures are meant for. So you may kindly pass over. And this time, one thing that I have a regret is, I couldn't do activities for the children. It was more intended towards the general mass and not towards the children. A lot of the parents did say that it could have been for the children as well. And one parent was so benevolent enough to give me a few books that I could gift for a few children here. Some good moral books. So why don't you come?
Lovely. Very.
And yeah, come. You can come over. Come. Yeah. Everyone is good. யார் கிடைக்கிறதோ பாக்கி ஜெராக்ஸ் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. All the best. All the best.
Correct, sir.
Oh, correct.
Correct.
Ah.
Sridhar?